Secretary Yvette Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that this bill be read a second time. It is a bill which has the wholehearted support of both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, and I hope the whole House. It is a bill, Madam Deputy Speaker, where some of those who have campaigned hardest for it are joining us in Parliament for these debates this afternoon. Madam Deputy Speaker, 7.5 years ago, on the evening of the 22nd of May 2017, thousands of people went to Manchester Arena for a music concert. Many of those in attendance were children and teenagers, there to see Ariana Grande, to see their favourite pop star, and to dance and sing along to her songs, to soak up the atmosphere with friends, family. But as the event drew to a close and people started to leave, terror struck. Scenes of happiness gave way to shock and to trauma, and an enjoyable spring evening was transformed into a nightmare. More than 1,000 people were injured. 22 of them never came home, and 9 of those were teenagers. Today we remember them all, their lives brutally cut short in an act of pure evil. And we think of the victims of other terrorist attacks too. They will never be forgotten. Their families and friends left to pick up the pieces and somehow to go on are in our hearts and our prayers. And we think of all those who survived this and other similarly abhorrent attacks and who live with the scars, whether physical or psychological, the survivors of all terror attacks. We think of the first responders who, when the worst happens, are on the front line, bravely working to protect the police, to protect the public and to save lives. And we think of the police and security and intelligence agencies who work night and day to prevent attacks and keep us all safe. And we give them our thanks. Madam Deputy Speaker, in the aftermath of the Manchester Arena attack, our country did what it has always done when confronted with terrorism. We came together. As the city grieved, we stood shoulder to shoulder with those affected. We offered our friendship and support. And in the darkness came rays of light, those who was determined to support each other and to make sure that more was done to save young lives in the future. Madam Deputy Speaker, that spirit is embodied by Figen Murray. Figen is with us in the gallery today, and it's because of Figen that all of us are here to talk about this legislation. Figen's son, Martyn Hett, was among those killed in the attack, and I cannot imagine Figen's pain, and I am in awe of her courage. To suffer such a horrendous loss and somehow find the strength to fight for changes that will help others is heroic. And despite her grief, she has campaigned. And she said this morning, when asked why she does this, that she looks at her child's ashes on the bookshelf. And she doesn't want other families to have to face the same. So yes, she and campaigners have fought for this law. This bill has been a long time coming, and she has never given up. And I'm sure the whole House will agree when I say to Figen, you are a true inspiration. Officially, we are debating the Terrorism Protection of Premises Bill, but in essence and in spirit, this is Martyn's law. Madam Deputy Speaker, the first responsibility of any government is to keep the public safe. That is and will always be our #1 priority, and we will not let terrorists and extremists destroy or distort our way of life. It's why we're committed in our manifesto to strengthen the security of public events and venues. It's why the Prime Minister has made a personal commitment to Figen Murray, and why we've moved at speed to introduce the bill in a matter of weeks after the general election. Earlier work was done on this bill under the last government, and I'm glad to say that it has cross-party support. And when it comes to security matters, I hope that the House will always be prepared to come together. The Manchester Arena inquiry made 169 public recommendations. In Volume 1, they focused on the security of the arena and set out the need for a protect duty in primary legislation. The chair, Sir John Saunders, who I thank for all the work that he did, concluded, "Doing nothing is, in my view, not an option. Equally, the protect duty must not be so prescriptive as to prevent people enjoying a normal life." And that encapsulates the purpose behind the bill, and indeed the purpose behind so much of what we do when countering terrorism and extremism. How to ensure proper measures are taken to keep us safe, and how to make sure people can get on with their lives, that we make it possible for people to keep enjoying all the things they do, protection of life, protection of our way of life. Since March 2017, the MI5 and the police have together disrupted 43 late-stage plots. There have been 15 domestic terror attacks. And we know from these incidents the public can be targeted at a wide range of public venues and spaces. We know too the terror threat has become less predictable, potential attacks harder to detect and investigate, which is why everyone needs to be part of the measures we take to keep people safe, including those who run the premises and events, to know what they can do, what they should be doing to keep people safe.